Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The sirens have sounded, which signaled the beginning of the 120th annual Putnam County Pioneer Days Celebration Parade here in Kalida. I'm Kevin Kidd, and to my left is Tim Wary. We will be your announcers and hosts for this afternoon's parade. Well, Tim, year after year we brag about the fact that this parade has never been rained on, and that certainly is not going to happen again today. It's rained and flooded all week, but everything's dried out, and the weather is simply fantastic.
That's true, Kevin. The weather is gorgeous. We couldn't have asked for it to be any better. I really don't know what it is about the weather, Kevin, but somebody upstairs likes us here in God's country. So we want to thank that big pioneer up in the sky for taking care of the weather for us again this year. Thanks, big guy.
Today, ladies and gentlemen, you will see what has traditionally been one of the largest parades in northwestern Ohio. There will be well over 275 units passing in front of you. High school marching bands, baton-twirling youngsters, farm implements and machinery, politicians running for national, state, and county positions, and hopefully would-be elected politicians will be running. Old and new cars and floats, and military personnel and equipment, including the Lima-built M1A1 Abrams main battle tank, the hero of the Gulf War. All of this representing this year's parade theme, Pioneer Salutes All Putnam County Volunteers and Service Organizations.
And what an appropriate theme. So many civic organizations such as the Lions Club, the volunteer fire departments, the EMTs, the American Red Cross, and so many others that could not possibly be effective without the volunteers and the people who gave themselves and their time for their fellow human beings. Right now, we can see the volunteer effort and the community events that Putnam County has, and also the volunteers helping out in Florida after the damage that Hurricane Andrew did that really hurt the area of that county. So this year's theme of volunteerism is really relevant.
Thanks, Tim. Right off the bat, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to mention to you, especially parents, to please help keep your children off of the streets during the parade. This is traditionally a fast-moving parade, and we do not want to have any accidents or injuries to dampen this year's celebration of Pioneer Days parade. You know, participants throw some goodies into the crowds, and at times the goodies will land on the street. So parents, please help to make this a safe and enjoyable Putnam County Pioneer Days parade again this afternoon. Tim, while we do have a few minutes before the parade starts to come in front of the reviewing stand, why don't you take some time and explain the parade route to our visitors today?
Sure will, Kevin. The parade starts at the St. Michael's Holy Name Baseball Park and proceeds southwest on 4th Street for approximately 5 blocks, where it turns right for 1 block on Water Street, and then turn right again onto Broad Street. The parade will travel northeast on Broad Street for 7 blocks, past the St. Michael's Catholic Church, where the route turns right again, which brings it back to the area where it started. The total route is approximately 2 miles. The parade will last around an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes. So ladies and gentlemen, please sit back and relax and enjoy this year's 120th annual Putnam County Pioneer Days Parade here in Kalida.
Tim, you emceed the crowning of the Putnam County Pioneer Days Queen last night. Perhaps you could give our visitors a rundown who was selected Queen and her court.
The Queen was Shelley Schrader, and her court is escaping me right now, Kevin. I was afraid you were going to do this to me. I can't even remember who the first runner-up is. They'll be coming through the parade a little bit later on, Kevin, so I'll be certain to announce all their names then.
Thank you, Tim. All of the girls are very active in their school and extracurricular activities and have very busy schedules. It was good of them to take the time to sell the tickets and be a part of Putnam County Pioneers Days again this year. So thanks again, ladies. Speaking of the girls selling the tickets, ladies and gentlemen, the big drawing will take place at 9:30 p.m. this evening. The prize money amounts to $2,500 with $1,000 going to the first place winner. Tickets will be on sale after the parade in front of the hardware store on the square. The cost of the tickets are $1 apiece or 6 tickets for $5.
Many people wonder where the money goes that is made by the sponsors of the Putnam County Pioneer Days Parade, the Kalida Lions Club and the Kalida Volunteer Fire Department. Well, Kevin, we know for a fact that the money doesn't go to the Pee Wee Herman Get Out of Jail Money Fund. The Kalida Lions Club's major project each year is the Kalida Community Park. Over the years, more than $250,000 has been used to equip the fine facilities in the park. The Lions Club also donates money to Lions International and to locally to stamp out drug abuse and educate children and young adults about the dangers of drugs. The Kalida Volunteer Fire Department uses its money to update and maintain their firefighting equipment and to help fund new purchases of equipment. The Kalida Fire Department has been serving the Kalida community and the county for well over 70 years. We are certainly glad that they are here to protect the community and its surrounding areas. And these guys are all volunteers, and they literally put their lives online or on stake at all times when they're fighting a fire, and they do this for free. I think that really makes Putnam County a really special community because all the local towns have free fire, or volunteer fire departments, and these guys are such good volunteers. I salute those gentlemen because they work hard to maintain a very safe and fire-free Putnam County.
Today, ladies and gentlemen, is a special day. We would particularly want to welcome all of you grandparents here at the Putnam County Pioneer Days celebration in Kalida. Today is National Grandparents' Day. Grandparents play an important part in the family structure and are excellent role models for the younger generations. We congratulate all of the grandparents today and wish them good health and hope they enjoy the Pioneer Days parade.
Children play an important part of the parade by being participants in the marching bands, marching units, and the floats. Parents certainly have to be commended in taking their children to the many practices and taking them to the many other parades throughout Northwest Ohio. There is so much behind-the-scene work that we who do not have children participating in these parades do not see. So thank you, parents, for making this year's parade a huge success.
You know, Tim, Pioneer Days was started to have an opportunity to renew old acquaintance, and I'm sure that most of us have seen people over the last 4 days who we have not seen in quite some time. The reason that Pioneer Days is so successful today is because of the beliefs of those who originated Pioneer Days. And each year the tradition grows and grows. Tim, I was a Pioneer Committee person for 2 years. There was a tremendous amount of time setting up the Pioneer Days. Would you like to explain that to us? Mike just went.
I think no, my mic's still on, Kevin. Yours is dead. Mine is still on, so get out of the limelight. No, there really is a lot of behind-the-scenes work. I also was a committee person for the Pioneer Days, and there are 2 representatives from each of the Kalida Lions Club and the Kalida Volunteer Fire Department. The Lions Club committeemen are Jim Unverfurth and Denny Knott, and the firemen are Brian Bearheide and Tim Snipke, and these guys have been putting a lot of time in planning for this year's Pioneer Days, and it starts weeks way before the celebration begins. Normally, the committee starts meeting regularly every week in March and establishes committees made up of the members of the Lions and the Fire Department to work the different areas and events during the Pioneer Days. The committee delegates the work needed to be done but the real work is done by the members of both organizations. They are the ones who really give up a lot of time working in the booths and assisting the committee chairman on which help make the Pioneer Days a smooth operation. Without them, the service organizations and their booths and the people coming to Kalida and enjoying themselves, we would not be able to raise the monies necessary to continue the projects that we have. Believe me, it really becomes a community or a county event, a real happening. Again, this year's committeemen are by the way of Jim Umberforth and Denny Canott of the Kalida Lions Club, and Tim Snipke and Brian Bearheide of the Kalida Volunteer Fire Department. Thank you, everyone, for making this another successful year of Putnam County Pioneer Days here in Kalida.
Thank you, Tim. Well done. We soon should be seeing the first units coming in front of the reviewing stand. The parade is traditionally led by the law enforcement representatives of Kalida and the county, the police chief and the sheriff. Like I said earlier, this is a fast-moving parade, but it will still last a little over 1 hour and 30 minutes. There will be well over 275 units in the parade. One important thing about this year is the fact that this is the 10th anniversary of the McDonald House of Northwest Ohio. During its first decade, the McDonald House has provided care and comfort for over 3,500 families, and each of these families has had an ill child undergoing treatment at an area Toledo hospital. And this year, as in the past, after the parade, there will be a fundraiser for the Northwest Ohio Ronald McDonald House. This will take place in front of the fire station. And while we have just a few minutes before the first units pass through the reviewing stand, let's run through a few announcements on events that will be taking place after the parade.
After the parade, enjoy the rides by Carpenter Brothers from St. Mary's. They will be running until people are ready to go home tonight. And they have quite a few rides here this evening for little kids and for big kids, which are little kids at heart. They have a whole bunch of them to ride. So after the parade, be certain to come and enjoy some of the Carpenter Brother rides.
There will also be hamburgers for sale at the Holy Name Hamburger Stand for some really fine hamburgers. Try them at the St. Michael's Holy Name Stand located on the square. They have all the ingredients there to add on to those really fine beef. You know, many steers have given their lives so that many people could be happy eating these Holy Name hamburgers. So after the parade, stop at the Holy Name Hamburger Stand located on the square.
Soundwave will be performing after the parade at the big tent located on the north side of the square. There will be a free dance, compliments of the sponsors of the Pioneer Days, the Kalida Lions and the Volunteer Fire Department. Soundwave will be providing the music from 3 to 6. Young people and you older people who still think young, stop on over to the big dance tent and enjoy the fine music.
And don't forget Band Boosters Bingo. Band Boosters Bingo will be having their games going on after the parade. This is a major fundraiser for the Boosters, and let's help support the Wildcat Marching Band program after the parade. The bingo stand is located on the northwest side of the square near Umberforth Motor Sales. Starting off this year's parade, ladies and gentlemen, as always, are the law enforcement officials in the county and Kalida. Sheriff Ron Deemer and Police Chief Walter Butch Coles. You know, ladies and gentlemen, Putnam County has one of the lower crime rates in the area. Your law enforcement personnel play a tremendous part in keeping the crime down. Our hats certainly go off to all the town and county law enforcement officers in the county. They all help keep Putnam County very safe and secure.
Following the sheriffs is the Kalida EMS, and it is under the direction of Ms. Eileen Decker. She is the new chief. and the technicians and paramedics who provide the emergency medical service are volunteers. So again, the theme to this year's parade, our salute to volunteerism, really holds true with the EMS. They provide emergency medical services and are volunteers. And in Putnam County, we can feel secure that if we have a medical emergency, the EMS squads in the county can be counted on for excellent services and care. Thank you very much, EMS volunteers.
National Guard. National Guard.
Now passing the reviewing stand is the National Guard Color Guard. Thank you, Color Guard, for attending this afternoon's parade here in Kalida. Let's have a round of applause for our American flag, ladies and gentlemen.
Also, the National Guard, I know a lot of those guys were sent down to Florida to help the victims of Hurricane Andrew. So these guys really put in a lot of time also, and it's a lot of times a thankless job. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank them also. Very, very nice job down in Florida, gentlemen. Thanks for all the time you put in. We really appreciate it. I feel better knowing next time, if we have an emergency, you guys will be there to help us.
Following the National Guard Color Guard are representatives of the American Legion Post 63 in Ottawa. They've been helping lead the parade for many years here in Kalida, and thanks again for your participation in this year's Putnam County Pioneer Days Parade. And thank you especially for your service to the United States and defending our country with the many years of wars and conflicts in the past 50 years.
Look, there goes Roger Colley, and he's got his arm in a sling. He must still be sore from the war.
Good.
Yeah, these guys.
Next we have the Sons of the American Legion Color Guard.
Where are they from?
They also are from Ottawa. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.
And also the Ottawa VFW Post 9142 Color Guard here in Kalida. We thank you for coming.
You know, Kevin, it's always great to see all these different groups pass through the parade route each year. And I think it's very important that all of us remember how each of them served our country in past wars. And unfortunately, I hope it never happens, but some of our kids may have to serve in future wars. It's nice to just remember the hard work and all the excellent things they've did for our country. Thank you, gentlemen.
And now passing the reviewing stand are the Spencerville Post 6772 Color Guard. We've had so many color guards this year at this year's parade. I think that just shows the patriotism that Putnam County and the area have for the United States of America. And we appreciate all of the color guards coming this afternoon to the 120th Putnam County Pioneer Days Parade. Keep your head down, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm glad you guys didn't shoot like that in the war. I saw which way those guns were aimed.
Where's the Heritage Festival? We can say something about the Heritage Festival. You got that, you said it stuck in one of these things.
In just a moment or two, here comes the Kalida High School Wildcat Marching Band, ladies and gentlemen. One of the premier small school bands in the area. The Kalida High School Marching Band is under the direction of Mr. Charles Myers and assisted by Mrs. Lori Klausing and Beth Myers. The Kalida Band has won numerous trophies and awards this year, and Kalida is certainly proud of the high school's band program.
I had the opportunity to be at the high school several times in the last 2 weeks, and I had a chance to see these young people practice, Kevin, and they really spend a lot of time. Mr. and Mrs. Myers and Mrs. Klausing spend a lot of time with these kids, and these kids work hard. And as you can tell just by watching their how uniform they are going through the parade, that it's these kids are just doing an excellent job. I'm very proud to say they are from Kalida, and I am from Kalida. Nice job. Nice job, members.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a big round of applause for the Kalida High School Wildcat Marching Band.
Beth Recker, you're not that far out of step. Keep up the good work. Right here. Light a band. Following the band is the Kalida High School Wildcat Marching Band Van, driven by Bob Mag.
The van was purchased through fundraising efforts by the Kalida Boosters, the band boosters, so we appreciate the wonderful work that the band boosters do in providing the equipment and facilities necessary to have a successful band program.
Next we have the very lovely Pioneer Committee, and they are Jim Umberfirth, and Tim Snipke, Denny Canott, and Brian Bearheide, and the little guy on Junior's lap is his son, Brian.
Following the Pioneer Committee are the Mayor of Kalida, Mr. Gene Smearsall, the Clerk, Eleanor Schnipke, and the Solicitor, Mr. Larry Leopold.
You got all that stuff?
The Village Council is following the Mayor, and they always back up their Mayor real well. Inside the Village Council van are Dick Buckrath, who is the President, Bob Buss, Dennis Turnwald, Dennis Kerner, Barb Burwell, and Dennis Karras.
Next we have the Board of Public Affairs, and that is Carl Fortman, President, Roger Dickman, and Mark Warnicki, helping out on the Board of Public Affairs.
Now passing the reviewing stand is the beautiful Kalida Lions Club float. That float was part of contributions and money that was raised during the past Pioneer Days.
The president of the Lions Club is Mr. Rick Umberfirth. Next we have truck number 1 from the Volunteer Kalida Fire Department, and it is a 1988 Ford diesel pumper. And this was purchased by township taxes. Sam Decker is the fire chief, and the fire department is 27 members strong. And these guys spend a lot of time this last 2 weeks cleaning up Kalida. They do a lot of good work for Kalida.
Truck number 2.
Truck number 2 is a 1978 emergency rescue vehicle. Again, all of these equipment and all these trucks and equipment were purchased through the fundraising efforts of the volunteer fire department these past years for Putnam County Pioneer Days.
The third vehicle to come through for the Kalida Volunteer Fire Department is the tanker truck, and it is a 1985 GMC with a 3,000-gallon tank. This truck was purchased by funds raised here at the Pioneer Days.
That's the big one. You can start reading that right now.
Truck number 4 is the first responder mini pumper, a 1991 Dodge with a capacity of 500 gallons per minute, 300-gallon tank. It was purchased by Pioneer funds, and this was a 5-year project undertaken by the 6 Firemen Member Committee. They spent over 2,000 hours of volunteer work to accomplish this fine piece of equipment, which the department intends to use in service for many, many years.
Truck number 5 is a 1978 Chevy pumper, which has the capacity of pumping 750 gallons per minute, and it was purchased by township taxes.
Truck number 5 is the Equipment Rescue Squad, a van, a 1983 Chevy. Again, all of these trucks, all of this equipment was purchased by Pioneer funds.
Next we have the EMS float. And again, Eileen Decker is the chief of the EMS, and the EMS would like me to advertise that they are having a chicken barbecue on October 11th at 11 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the evening, or as long as the chicken lasts, I would imagine. Next we have Soundwave disc jockeys. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming over.
Salute all the people who took their time to be with everybody out here today. Everybody, I want to see a big round of applause for Kalida, for letting you come into their town.
Kevin, I don't think Ted's going to be able to walk through the whole parade and keep up that talk of his. What do you think?
He might.
I think he's going to peter out.
He might need a few liquid refreshments, I think, Tim. Passing sound wave are the Putnam County Commissioners of Putnam County. Alvin Schrader and definitely Alvin
Next we
Schrader.
have re-elect Judge Leopold. So this November, please vote for Dick Leopold.
Also vote for Alvin Dick Schrader, Democrat for Commissioner.
Next we have Dr. John Berry, Coordinator. Thank you for coming over, Dr. Berry.
He's more than just the coordinator, he's also the Putnam County Coroner, Tim.
What did I say?
Coordinator.
Oh, I meant coroner.
He doesn't coordinate the deaths either, just takes care of the final diagnoses.
Just tear them out. Okay. Next we have car number 1, which is a 1969 GTO Judge. Driver's name is Eugene Kirk from Spencerville, and that is the owner.
Following that beautiful car is State Representative Lynn Watchman. Good luck this year in November, Lynn. Thank you for participating in this afternoon's parade.
Car number 3 is a 1956 Oldsmobile, model 88. Factory original paint, chrome, and interior. Paul Miller, driver, Defiance, Ohio.
Right there, I guess.
Passing car number 4 is Brent von Linden. This car was completely homemade. A beautiful, beautiful go-kart.
Next we have a truck from Wapakoneta, Ohio. The make is a 1943 Seagrave, and the fire chief over at Wapak is Steve McClintock.
I don't know. Kalida truck equipment.
Following the Wapak Connecticut Fire Department is the Kalida Truck Equipment float. They've been in business in Kalida for 16 years with 2 locations in Kalida and Toledo. We appreciate them for being in this afternoon's 120th Putnam County Pioneer Days Parade.
More Kalida truck.
The dump truck, number 1 here, is shown, has several of the products available at both stores. The Township demo unit is complete with a Heil dump body and Glen Hill plow hitch. And the third truck, a Knapheide grain body and a hoist. Beautiful pieces of equipment, Tim.
And with all the rain, there should be a bountiful harvest this year in Putnam County, and maybe some farmer out there needs a big dump truck like that. Next we have the Putnam County Explorers Color Guard.
Following the color guard is re-elect Leopold for judge. Good luck in the November election, Judge Leopold. Keep the fines down.
Yeah, it's always nice to know that we have a judge like that might be able to cut us a break since we're giving him this free advertising in the parade, Kevin. If we get trouble here in Putnam County, maybe he'll cut us a slack. Next we have Bob Heinischer, and he's the president of the Ohio Mayors Association. Thanks, Bob, for coming over this afternoon.
Following Bob is the clerk of courts, Mary Weiner, with 19 years of experience. Good luck in the November election, Mary. Thanks for participating in this afternoon's parade.
The first of many antique tractors to go through the parade this afternoon is a 1944 John Deere Model B, driven and owned by Ron Schulte.
On top of the float there
Get your hand away. Okay.
is a John Deere unstyled tractor on steel wheels.
Let's see that.
Following that is a 1957 Farmall 300, driven by Alfred Kramer and owned by Alfred Kramer from Fort Jennings.
Tractor number 105 is a 1936 Oliver Hart Par. Its driver today is Jerry Schrader, and it's owned by Betty Schrader here in Putnam County.
Car number 106 is a 1941 John Deere B, driven and owned by Mel Lammers from Glandorf. Thanks for coming over, Mel. We appreciate it.
Richville.
Now passing the viewing stand is the Richville, Ohio Stark County Community Richville Fire Department, a 1939 Chevy. It's the first homemade truck, and it's traveled 158 miles from home today. So thank you, Richville Community Fire Department.
Where's the OG band thing at?
Now passing the reviewing stand is one of the premier mid-school size marching bands, the Ottawa Glandorf Titan Marching Band, under the direction of Mr. Fred Nordhaus. They've come to us for the last 3 or 4 years to the Putnam County Pioneer Days Parade, and we certainly appreciate and thank Mr. Nordhaus and the fantastic Ottawa Glandorf Marching Band for participating in this afternoon's parade. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I think Ottawa Glandorf definitely is one of the top bands in Ohio. Mr. Nordhaus does such a fine job with these young people, and these young people practice hard all the time. I truly think, Kevin, they are one of the best bands in Ohio. Very, very nice job, OG. Thank you for coming over this afternoon.
Ottawa and Glandorf communities have a lot to be appreciative and proud of in their marching band this afternoon.
Following the OG band, we have the Kalida Cub Scouts with Mr. Rich McElwain driving the tractor, pulling the float. Look at all those little cubs, Kevin.
And right behind the Kalida Cub Scout are the Kalida Girl Scouts on their roller skates and bicycles. Thanks for participating in this afternoon's parade, girls.
And following the Girl Scouts, we have political candidate Sheriff Steve Steckschulte.
You can grab a hold of it here, but don't cover up this side hole. That's not right.
No, that's not true at all. We have Vorse and Collie Auctioneers, and they're saying re-elect Deemer for sheriff. And we have the Brownie Troop 506. Here we have Steve Steckschulte for sheriff. Thanks for coming over this afternoon, Steve. Good luck in November.
Following Steve Steckschulte, we also have the re-elect Leopold for judge again. That's the second time. You guys are doing great advertising this afternoon.
Thank you for coming over, Leopold. I think they're just showing they know how many people come to the Pioneer Days Parade.
Following re-elect Leopold for judge is elect Oliver Lugbill for the Putnam County coroner position. Thank you, Dr. Lugbill, for participating in this afternoon's parade.
Next, we have the New Bavaria International Pumper from Pleasant Township. Thank you for coming over, Nuber. We appreciate it. We appreciate you coming over every year. Fine-looking piece of equipment.
Should be next. We love views.
And right behind the Newburgh Fire Department is the We Love Yous. And they look like they're having lots of fun this afternoon at the parade.
I think a couple of those horses are a little off-center, Kev.
And don't forget the reindeer and the giraffe.
Nice nose. Groucho Marx probably thinks the same thing, although he probably doesn't think a whole lot anymore.
Don't put your hand up there.
Going back to the classic cars, passing the viewing stand, is a 1963 Olds Model F85. It's driven and owned by Paul Newman from Ottawa. We thank you, Paul and Barb, for coming this afternoon to the parade. Beautiful looking car. Car number 5 is a 1969 Camaro SS. In excellent condition. It has 48,000 original miles. It's owned and driven by Eddie Dooling in Ottawa.
Can you find the Heritage Day thing so we can plug that?
Yeah.
Car number 6 is a 1968 Chevy Caprice. No, it's not a convertible. And it's driven by Dennis Schrader from Leipzig. And Dennis is also the guy that owns it. Thank you for bringing it over, Dennis. Very sharp-looking car. Following Dennis's car, we have Foldaway Tow manufactured here in Kalida, and sales at the Kalida Truck and ATV Toolbars, pulled by Jay Schimler. And Jay is reminding all of us to just vote this November. Make sure you get out and vote. Let freedom ring, and I totally agree with that. Let it ring.
Now passing the reviewing stand is a wonderful piece of equipment, an ambulance by Braun Industries Incorporated, near Kalida, near Oakwood, Ohio. They do wonderful, wonderful work in building and manufacturing and renovating emergency equipment for EMS squads. So we thank you, Braun Industries, for participating in this afternoon's 120th Putnam County Pioneer Days celebration here in Kalida.
And following the Braun ambulance, we have Michelle's Majorettes.
I have no idea where they're from.
And this is where, I think right here is where all the majorettes from the various bands get their start. They all start at a real young age, twirling batons at the different places, and Michelle does a very nice job with these young girls. And I think the Putnam County bands are very fortunate to have people like Michelle spending a lot of time with these young girls, teaching them how to twirl their batons, and hopefully in the future they'll twirl a baton for a marching band someplace.
You know, Tim, that's what volunteerism is all about, giving of oneself for others and giving of one's valuable time in today's society. Right after Michelle's twirlers, we have a representative from the Miller City Fire Department. We have a 1976 Ford Pumper in this afternoon's parade. The chief of the Miller City Fire Department is Mr. Jim Clayman. Thanks for coming this afternoon's parade, Jim, and the Miller City Volunteer Fire Department.
Following the Miller City Fire Department, we have tractor number 107, which is a 1937 John Deere B, driven by Sean Moser and owned by Gerald Moser, his father.
Tractor number 108 is a 1951 John Deere Model 8. It's driven today by Jason Mosier and owned by Gerald Mosier in Columbus Grove.
Tractor number 109 is a John Deere B, manufactured in 1936. Restored by a father and son, Peter Mosier, and Gerald Mosier is the father.
Following the John Deere tractors is an elect Michael O'Malley Judge car. Best wishes to Mr. Michael O'Malley in the November elections coming up. Didn't know we had so many Irish in Putnam County, Mike.
Welcome. Next we have elect John C. Berry for coroner. I'm still not pronouncing that quite right, am I? John Berry, Dr. Berry for coroner.
You know, if you don't pronounce it right the next time, one of the coroners might have to do an autopsy on you, Tim, so let's get it straight now.
Either that or a full frontal lobotomy.
I thought you already had that.
Next we have Virginia Price running for clerk of courts. Thank you for coming over, Virginia. Good luck this November.
You know, for a lot of elected officials, the Price is Right is the theme for many of them, but we certainly want to wish Virginia Price good luck in the November elections.
Next we have car number 7, which is a 1975 Chevy Nova SS, driven and owned by Martin Van Brackle from Continental. All right.
Car number 8 is a 1961 Ford Sunliner, driven and owned by Bob Manley in Elida. We'd like to thank Elida for coming over to this afternoon's parade.
Carl Kubander is the owner and the driver of this beautiful 1986 Mustang LX. Very nice car, Carl. Beautiful.
Now passing the reviewing stand are representatives of the Lima Area Support Group for Ronald McDonald Houses, a very, very worthwhile cause. This is the 10th anniversary of the Ronald McDonald House in Toledo. Right after the parade, they will be having a fundraiser in front of the fire station to raise funds for their many wonderful and needy projects and keeping the children who participate who have to be in the Toledo hospitals so that their parents can stay close by in the Ronald McDonald House. We thank them for coming this afternoon.
Next, we have our good friends from Glandorf, the Glandorf Lions Club. Welcome, gentlemen. You all look good on there. Thank you for coming to the Pioneer Days Parade. Thank you very much.
There should have been a card who's the president, but I didn't have it.
Forget it now.
Putnam County Council on it. Can we just close this? We don't need this right now, do we?
Well, a little bit. Now passing the reviewing stand is a beautiful float by the Putnam County Health Department. It says, a vote for health, vote yes for the health issue in November. And following the health department is the Putnam County Council on Aging van. And they also are having a levy on the tax on the ballot this year. So think of them when you're voting in November. The Council on Aging tax levy.
I don't know who the planning department Grove band is. Bob Montu. That's right.
Now approaching the reviewing stand, ladies and gentlemen, is the Columbus Grove High School Bulldog Marching Band, one of the premier bands in the area. The Columbus Grove Bulldog Marching Band is under direction of Mr. Bob Montooth
And Jim Keller.
and Mr. Jim Keller. Thank you, Columbus Grove Bulldog Marching Band, for participating in this afternoon's parade. Let's have a round of applause for the Columbus Grove Bulldog Marching Band.
You know, Kevin, Columbus Grove equally has a very fine-looking band and a good-sounding band. I think it just shows the quality of students we have here in Putnam County and the quality of teachers we also have. I know all the directors get paid for their time, but I'm certain if you would count up all the time that they put in, I'm certain it probably only amounts to a couple dollars an hour, and there's a lot of volunteerism there. We salute you. Next, we have Pam's School of Dance from Ottoville and Van Wert. And Pam wants to tell everybody she's starting classes in October. And she takes kids of all ages from 3 on up.
Following Pam's School of Dance is Karoff's Sharpening Shop, located near Continental. For all of your sharpening needs, call Karoff Sharpening in Continental.
Umberford Motor Sales.
Next, we have several vehicles from Umberford Motor Sales right here in Kalida. And the Umberford people spend a lot of time volunteering for the Pioneer Days. And they, Virgil and Randy and Roger, really spend a lot of time the few weeks before the Pioneer Days, and they volunteer a whole bunch. So I'd like to thank those 3 gentlemen. Thank you very much.
You know, Tim, the new car year's starting soon, so stop by and ask for Randy Ummerfirth and see those new Chrysler Corporation cars. You know, Ummerfirth Motor Sales is open at convenient hours, so you can shop after the work day and also on weekends. That's Ummerfirth Motor Sales here in Kalida. Beautiful line of cars and vans in Kalida.
Where are we at on the list? I don't know.
Kalida CLSC's right after them first. I know Yesterday at the car show, Kevin, we had the 1992 first production Dodge Viper here, and it was really quite an attractor, and that was compliments of Chrysler Plymouth, and the Umberfirth boys got that car here for us, so thanks again, Umberfirths. Next we have the CLFC float right here in Kalida, and it's service to our community, and the CLFC ladies really do a lot of good for the Kalida community. Thank you for putting such a nice float through the parade.
Next to the Kalida, right behind the Kalida CLC float, are Putnam County Big Brothers and Big Sisters, Big Brother Mark Hamilton and little brother Bruce Bassett.
Next we have the Continental Lions Club, our good friends and brothers from Continental. Thank you, gentlemen, for showing up this evening. It's afternoon. It's not dark yet, is it?
The Kalida Lions Club has a special kinship with the Continental Lions Club because the Kalida Lions Club helped sponsor the Continental Lions Club to be a club in Continental. So thank you again for coming to this afternoon's parade.
And this is the Columbus Grove Lions Club, I believe. Thank you guys for coming over. The Columbus Grove Lions Club on an antique fire truck. Next we have, this is it here? The Riley Township Fire Department. And it is the chief, Kevin Vance is the fire chief at the Pandora Fire Department. Thanks for coming over, gentlemen and ladies. We appreciate it.
That fire department's been around for a long time, Tim. They've been around since 1910. That's 82 years ago. Following the Riley Township Fire Department is a truck, a 1924 Ford truck, a Model T Huckster truck. It's driven and owned by John Mitchell from Columbus Grove, Ohio.
Car number 11 is a 1970 Ford Torino, driven and owned by Mr. Rick Good. Very sharp-looking car, Rick. Thank you for bringing it over.
Car number 12 is a car that looks like it came out of the gangster movies, a 1928 Ford Touring Model A. It's driven today by Bill Gieske from Ayersville. The owner is Walter Schuler and the Walter Schuler family from New Bavaria.
Following the gangster car, we have a float that says, "Re-elect Ron Deemer for sheriff." Thank you for bringing the float over, and some fine-looking young people on the float, tossing out candy. Thank you for coming over.
Right behind Ronald Deemer, re-elect for sheriff, is the DARE group. Dare to Stay Off of Drugs, a very worthwhile organization. They're from Kalida right in here in Kalida. So thank you, boys and girls, for participating in the DARE program and participating in this afternoon's Putnam County Pioneer Days Parade.
The DARE float. Oh, there it is.
And following the marching kids, we have the DARE float. And the DARE float teaches kids to stay off of drugs, and that is a fine idea. I know I read an article in a magazine one time, and that it costs the United States millions of dollars each year because people are taking drugs, and that's just a good idea to tell kids to never take drugs.
Now passing the reviewing stand are the Ottawa Comets, who are sponsored by the American Legion Post 63 in Ottawa. We'd like to thank the girls and their group leaders for their fine efforts in showing off their special talents that they have this afternoon at the parade.
You know, and I'll bet their parents have to drive them to practice all the time, and they volunteer that time to take the kids to practice, and they probably carpool from practices, and I think volunteerism in Putnam County is really showing today, Kevin, just how much people really do volunteer here in Putnam County.
Immediately following the Comets is a mixer truck from Colley and Langhouse Ready Mix Incorporated. They have all the building supplies that you need for your next project. They're located here in Kalida and also in Ottawa. That's Colley and Langhouse Ready Mix Incorporated.
Did you find that thing from Heritage Festival?
Yeah.
I'll take a couple of them.
Okay. Next we have the float from Umberfirth Manufacturing, and Umberfirth's salute our athletes in Barcelona this past summer, and I thought the United States had a fine showing in Barcelona. And Umberfirth Manufacturing is supporting them and saluting them. Next we have a van from Knieve and Sons Plumbing and Heating here in Kalida, Ohio.
Knieve & Sons have been providing plumbing and heating services for Kalida for well over 25 years.
After the Knieve van, we have tractor number 110, and it is a 1936 John Deere B. And it is driven by Brian Cavalige, and it's owned by Joe Cavalige from Fort Jennings.
Tractor number 111 is a 1950 AC model WD. It was remodeled 1 week ago. The driver is Jason Wary from Elida, and the owner of the 1950 tractor is Dennis Wary from Elida.
I need number 13. That's next.
Tractor number 13 is a an F14 Farmall tractor manufactured in 1938. Driven and owned by Clarence Schrader. Thank you, Mr. Schrader, for bringing it over from Ottawa.
Tractor number 114 is a 1933 Farmall F12. It's driven today by Bill Schrader from Columbus Grove, and the owner are Clarence and Bill Schrader.
Following the tractor, we have a Sarah Williams state representative from District 83, the 83rd District, and Sarah says, please vote for me this November. Thank you, Sarah.
Jerry Holbein.
Next we have, in a beautiful red LeBaron convertible, is Jerry Holbein, and he's running for Putnam County Commissioner. Thanks for coming over, Jerry. Good luck this November.
You got the Putnam County Youth Shooting thing?
No, this is
Columbus Grove Boy Scouts.
Next we have the Columbus Grove Boy Scouts, pack number 227. Where are all the Boy Scouts at? Couldn't get anybody to come today? Thank you for coming over from Columbus Grove.
Following the Columbus Grove Cub Scouts are the Putnam County Youth Shooting Group from Kalida, Lipsick, and Cloverdale. They're sponsored by all the game clubs from those three communities. They have had a successful year. The last couple years, they've been state champs in the Ohio Youth Hunter Education Program in the senior and junior group. Twice they've been to the North American Championships in New Mexico, and they brought back 9 medals in the junior division in 1992. Again, they're sponsored by the Kalida Fish and Game Club, the Lipsick Fishing and Hunting Association, and the Cloverdale Game Club.
Next we have the Crooked Creek Buckskinners float. You guys caught me. I forgot you were going to do that. They are having a rendezvous on October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And I can't tell you where it's at right now. We're having a great time today.
Looks like we got a lot of people there today. We are in our trailer from Middle Point, Ohio. Ever ready to serve your needs for farm, home, and trucking.
And passing the viewing stand are E&R Trucking, located in Middle Point, Ohio. They're the ones with all the music on the flatbed.
Next we have a front wheel assist tractor, a 7140 Case International from Shoemaker Mag in Ottawa, Ohio. Very fine piece of equipment. And following the front wheel assist, we have an actual four-wheel drive tractor from Shoemaker Mag. And that is a 9230 Case International, and that probably has about 230 horses underneath the hood of that baby. If you got about $125,000 you don't know what to do with, buy yourself a four-wheel drive tractor. Following the four-wheel drive tractor, we have a 1640 Case International. Compliments of Shoemaker Mag. Very, very fine piece of equipment. Good looking piece, bud. Thanks for bringing it over.
You got something from Glenn?
Following the combine are our friends from Glandorf, the Glandorf Fire Department. They brought over a 1975 Ford pumper,
Cloverdale Little League winner.
a GMC brush buggy, a 1980 model, and a 1992 GMC equipment van. The chief of the Glandorf Fire Department is Mr. Louis Hawker. The community of Glandorf does wish to thank the Kalida Volunteer Fire Department and the Ottawa Fire Department in fighting their unfortunate fire at St. John's Catholic Church. They appreciate the support of the Kalida and the Ottawa Fire Departments. The whole community of Glandorf says thank you very much.
Next we have the county champions from Cloverdale, the Little League #1 team, the Putnam County champions. And those kids are awful happy that they won the championship. Congratulations, kids.
They had a real ball, Tim, winning that. Following the Cloverdale Little League is afloat the Putnam County Right to Life. We speak for those who can't.
What do you want?
Life, what a beautiful choice.
Following those, we have the St. Michael's Church float, keeping the light of peace burning right here in Kalida, the St. Michael's Catholic Church. Very beautiful float. Thank you for bringing it over.
Following the St. Michael's Church Parish are the Knights of Columbus, Pope Leo XIII Assembly from Findlay. We'd like to thank the Knights of Columbus for participating in this afternoon's parade. Thank you very much. Keep smiling, Ron.
Following the Knights of Columbus, we have our Queen and her court, and the Queen is Shelley Schrader. Congratulations, Shelley. And Jenny Heitmeyer was our first runner-up.
Last year's Queen.
Following this year's Queen and her court, we have the Queen of the 1991 Pioneer Days, and that is Miss Nancy Verhoff. Thank you for coming this afternoon, Nancy. You look lovely as always. Got to go back to school probably yet this afternoon, don't you? Study hard for me, like I did it when I was in college all the time. Not.
Car number 13.
Car number 13 is a 1931 Ford Model A, driven by Richard Kuhlman from New Bavaria, and it's owned by the Walter Schuler family of New Bavaria.
Car number 14 is a 1930 Ford Roadster Model A. It's driven today by Dennis Schuler, and we'd like to thank the Schuler family from New Bavaria for sharing with us all their cars that they brought over this afternoon. Thank you very much, our friends from New Bavaria.
I always like the rumble seat on those cars. Car number 15 is a Ford Model T Touring, which was manufactured in 1914, and it's driven and owned by Paul and Mary Jane Schmidt from Continental. Thank you for bringing over that truly beautiful and magnificent car. Thank you very much.
Car number 16 on our entry is a 1947 Willys Jeep, driven by Don and Dolores Myers and owned by Don Myers. From our friends in Continental, thank you for participating in this afternoon's parade, Don and Dolores.
Probably. Audible bands next.
You want a root beer? Root beer, Kevin?
No thanks.
No thanks.
Approaching the reviewing stand, ladies and gentlemen, are our friends from Ottoville High School, the Ottoville High School Big Green Marching Band.
I can't remember what his name is. The guy who was hot back. Does he have it written down in the direction? I think it was named Bauer. Rick? No, I don't know.
Let's have a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for the Ottoville Big Green High School Marching Band. and they sound sharp today, Tim.
Oh, that's for sure, Kevin. This group of kids really spend a lot of time practicing and performing also. I had the opportunity to go through the Cloverdale parade several weeks ago, and the Ottoville band was there, and they did a fantastic job over at Cloverdale, and I'm certain they led the parade last weekend at Ottoville's Park Festival. Just truly a fine group of young people. Very, very nicely done, Ottoville. Thank you. Following the Ottoville High School Band, we have a float from the Union Bank Company. And the Union Bank salutes Grandparents' Day, the world's greatest volunteers. And I'd have to agree with that. Grandparents are some of the greatest people in Ohio, in the world.
They're also some of the best babysitters also, Tim.
I suppose you know that, Kevin, because you have a couple rugrats yourself, don't you?
Following the Union Bank is Aeroquip Corporation. It's a division of Tri-Nova Corporation with worldwide sales. They have a private fleet consisting of 7 power units and 20 trailers. They run team drivers that cover most of the eastern half of the United States. And believe it or not, the truckers average 1,400,000 miles on the road each and every year, delivering those fine products made by Aeroquip Corporation.
Following Aeroquip, we have the Buck Tanner Band, and it is on Stan's repair. And Stan would like to dedicate a country song to all volunteers. The Buck Tanner Band is absolutely one of the best bands in Northwest Ohio. I love you guys' music. Very, very nicely done, guys and ladies. Thank you very much. Gary, I'm not one of those guys in low places, am I?
Following the Buck Tanner Band, we're back to some tractors. Number 115 is a 1938 Massey 101 Senior Harris, driven and owned by Doug Bakke from our friends in Delphus, Ohio.
A Farmall M tractor manufactured in 1946 is tractor number 116, and it's driven by Dan Schulte, and it's owned by Ed Hermiller.
Tractor number 117 is a 1937 Alice Chalmers WC model. It was bought new in 1937, believe it or not, for $300 and a team of horses. Today's driver is Andy Schrader from Glandorf, and the owner is Ken Elsinger from Ottawa.
Next we have the Putnam County Sledders Snowmobile Club, and with all the snow we had last winter, I'm certain they had an opportunity to use those snowmobiles here in Putnam County. And they are fine-looking snowmobiles at that. The Snowmobiles Club, they sponsor trips to Michigan and Wisconsin, and they go all over the United States. They take their snowmobiles and have a lot of fun.
Passing just right in back of the snowmobiles are the Ottoville Park Carnival King and Queen. Last week, Ottoville had their annual park carnival, and the winners of the King and Queen competition are King Steve Lozier, son of Matt Langhouse, and the winner of the Queen is Tammy Schnipke.
You got this.
Thank you very much for coming to this afternoon's parade. Following the Ottoville car is the Invincible Fire Company from Spencerville, Ohio. They brought with them a 1949 Ford Pumper. The chief of the Spencerville Invincible Fire Company is Chief Paul Lee Sr.
Next we have Dee's Ceramic Shop from Cloverdale. Dee Snipke is the owner. And following Dee, we have Otmer and Lenny Michael saying Plant DeKalb makes a lot of sense, and they say sense is spelled C-E-N-T-S. DeKalb, some of the finest seed manufactured in the world.
For the past few years, we've had some representatives from Hoagland, Indiana coming, and they're promoting their Oktoberfest, September 18th, 19th, and 20th. That's next weekend in Hoagland, Indiana. We'd like to thank them for traveling these many miles to participate in this afternoon's parade. So thank you, Hoagland, Indiana, and remember their Oktoberfest next weekend.
Car number 17 is a Chevy Camaro Beretta. car number 18 is
That's the track. Where's the car at?
car number 18 is a 1979 Lincoln two-door, and it's for sale, and it's driven by Michelle Myers, and it's owned by Ralph Veroff of Kalida.
Car number 19 is a 1968 Camaro Coupe, driven and owned by Steve Magg. Thank you very much.
Tractor number 119 is pulling the Fort Jennings Lions float.
The Fort Jennings Lions Club are having a consignment sale Saturday, September 19th at 10 a.m. at the Fort Jennings Community Park. So they'll have many items in the morning and bigger items and farm machinery in the afternoon. So remember the Fort Jennings Lions Club next Saturday.
Next we have the Putnam County Pork Queen, and that is Mary Beth Schrader. And Mary Beth is from Columbus Grove, I believe. Thanks for coming over, Mary Beth. And after Mary Beth, we have Rick O'Shea from Fort Wayne, Indiana, I believe. Thank you for coming over, Rick O'Shea. Next we have a float from Hearthstone, and Hearthstone says faith, family, and friends is important to them.
And following them is Janice's Twirlers from Elida, Ohio. They have some colorful outfits this afternoon, and do they look sharp? Let's have a round of applause for the Janice Twirlers from Elida, Ohio.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming this afternoon all the way from Elida. Very, very nice. And Janice has a few more twirlers. They got the older girls leading them out, and they got some younger girls following up.
And they're called Janice's Twirlettes, and behind them, yet a smaller group. And believe it or not, they're called Janice's Twinklets.
Fine-looking group of young ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming over this afternoon, kids. Don't worry, the parade's not a whole lot longer. Keep marching. You're about through. Just about done.
Continental Helping Hands, you got something for them? Supposed to, I can't find it.
Next we have a float from the Continental Helping Hands. And they salute to Helping Hands of Continental and all of the Helping Hands across Putnam County. Shit. What was that?
Behind the Helping Hands, we have the Nurse of Hope, representative of the American Cancer Society, and today it's Brenda Ball. Thank you very much, Brenda, for participating in this afternoon's Putnam County Pioneer Day celebration, and congratulations for being the Nurse of Hope for the American Cancer Society.
Following the Nurse of Hope, we have the Putnam County Junior Fair Queen, King and Queen, and it's Mark Light and Sue Ricker. You look very nice sitting up there today, Sue.
Following the Putnam County Junior Fair, King and Queen, are our friends from Fort Jennings, the Fort Jennings Volunteer Fire Department. They brought with them a 1982 Chevy. The chief of the Fort Jennings Fire Department is Tom Bollinger.
Following Fort Jennings Fire Department, we have Woodland Acres Greenhouse and Nursery and Landscaping. Alan and Stephanie Rosengarten are the proprietors, and it is near Ottawa, Ohio. It's 5 miles northwest of Ottawa on State Route 15.
Next, coming up, the reviewing stand. No, it's not the governor of Ohio. It's Defiance Limousine Service. They're chauffeur-driven. They deliver many services from corporate meetings, weddings, proms, birthdays, and many special events. And they're all fully equipped stretch limousines. And Terry Miller is the owner of the Defiance Limousine Service. So if you'd like to class up your wedding, your bar mitzvah,
Yeah, I'm certain there's a lot of bar mitzvahs in Putnam County, Kevin.
Well, you never know, Tim. You never know.
You never know. Those are some really, really big cars. It's always kind of fun to go out in a limousine service. It's always fun to go to a party or to some special event and rent a limousine for the evening.
And right behind Defiance Limousine Service is the Baldwin Limousine Service, and they have a sharp-looking entry in this afternoon's parade also. Thank you very much for participating in this afternoon's parade.
Following the Baldwin limousine, we have a 1959 Etzel Ranger, owned and driven by Alvin Obener from Lima, Ohio. Thank you for bringing the Etzel over. Very, very nice.
What? Antique cars, number 20. So we're right here now. 21. You got 21, Kevin?
Car number 21 is a 1975 Cadillac Eldorado. Today it's driven and it's owned by Tom Nieswander from our friends near Findlay, Ohio.
A 1973 Ford Mustang is car number 22, and the driver's name is Jenny Clayman, and the owner's name is Jane Clayman from Fort Jennings. Thank you for coming over this afternoon.
We have a happy bunch of Glandorf softball tournament champ girls, 1992 tournament champs. Congratulations, Glandorf.
And I'll bet you their coaches are volunteers, and the volunteerism wins a championship. That is beautiful. Next, we have the Little Miss of Putnam County Fair, Madison Cup, and the Little Mr. of Putnam County Fair is Aaron Hovis. And they are good-looking little kids. And I think they're having a good time today.
Following the Little Miss Putnam County Fair are the JCs from Fort Jennings, the Fort Jennings Central JCs. The JCs are providing service to the Fort Jennings community for many years. They have a Halloween dance coming up on October 31st, Saturday evening, so don't forget that. That's the Fort Jennings JCs.
Next, we have an entry from the Delphus Fire Department, and I would like to remind everybody to go to the Delphus Heritage Days next weekend. I think that's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, correct?
That's
Parade
right.
is on Sunday, and please go to the Heritage Days.
118. You got number 18, 118?
Tractor number 118 is a 1954 Farmall 200. Carl Hermiller is the driver, and Carl and Dolores Hermiller from Ottoville are the owners. Thank you.
Number 120. Tractor number 120.
Tractor number 120 is an F12, a 1935 F12. It's driven and owned by Wilfred Osting from Delphus.
William Osting is the driver of vehicle number 121, and it is a 1937 F12 Farmall, manufactured by McCormick.
Tractor number 122 is another F12, a 1936 F12, again owned by Wilfred Osting from Delphus, Ohio.
Pioneer Committee, 4 more years. No.
Next, we have a 1946 Oliver 60. Driven and owned by Eldon Eden from New Bavaria, Ohio. Thanks for coming over all the way from New Bavaria.
Now coming up on the reviewing stand is the Lima City Alumni Band from Lima Senior, South, LCC, and Central. They're graduates from all the high schools and have ranging in ages from about 19 to 45. You know, it's wonderful that they've been given their time to come to this year's parade again. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm pioneer welcome to the Lima City Alumni Marching Band.
Could Bob and Rita Mag please go to the high school? Mr. Myers needs to talk to Bob and Rita Mag. Next, we have the Columbus Grove Fire Department, and they're having one unit in this year, and it is a 1991 Ford Pumper, and the fire chief is Len Hefner. Thank you for bringing that brand new truck over to the Pioneer Days. A beautiful truck, Grove. Thank you.
Following the Columbus Grove Fire Department is the queen of the 1992 Cloverdale Festival, Miss Valerie Smith. Thank you, Valerie, for coming to this afternoon's parade.
Next we have a horse-driven wagon sponsored by D&D Grain in Delphus, Ohio. And I'm certain D&D would like to invite everyone to the Heritage Days next week in Delphus.
Right behind D&D Grain are the K&L Village Idiots. They're sponsored by Colleen Langhouse Ready Mix and Kalida, Ottawa, and Macomb. And they're showing off their wonderful talents, those idiots. They're doing a great job.
What's next? What are you doing? I don't know. Where are you at? K&L Village Idiots.
Next we have some motorcycles from Honda of Ottawa. Right on State Route 65, Honda of Ottawa. Some truly fine-looking motorcycles. And the float is also advertising Honda of Ottawa. I got my three-wheeler from those guys. They give good prices, and they've got darn nice machines. Quit clowning around.
We're going to come back to the cars again. Car number 23. And we keep seeing that re-elect Leopold for judge. We're going to start charging you guys for advertising. Anyway, the car is a 1941 Ford sedan. It's driven and owned by Terry Oliver of Ottawa, and they're members of the Four Deuces Car Club in Putnam County.
Vehicle number 24 is a Chevy pickup truck custom deluxe. And the driver's name is Gary Wolke, and he is also the owner.
Now approaching the reviewing stand is the Belmore Volunteer Fire Department. They brought along today a 1947 International. The chief of the Belmore Volunteer Fire Department is Mr. Jim Kelly. Thank you, Belmore, for coming over this afternoon to the parade.
Smith strawberries. I got some. Tell them it tastes great. Don't give me diarrhea.
Next we have a truck and a float sponsored by Smith's Strawberries. And the owner of Smith's Strawberries is Tom and Laura Smiths of Glandorf, Ohio. And they said they are harvesting raspberries right now. Hi, Tom. Thanks for coming over. And they want everyone to visit their haunted cornfield every Friday and Saturday in October. And I'm certain it'll be a scary sight. So go over to Smith's Strawberries and get some raspberries this week.
Tractor 124.
Tractor number 124 is a steam engine Baker. And the driver is Wilt Kuhlman. And the owner's name is also Wilt Kuhlman of Ottawa, Ohio. Thanks for coming over.
Tractor number 125 is a 1956 Oliver Super 77, driven today by Brent Leopold from Ottawa. The owner are Bill and Jane Kuhlman from Ottawa. Thank you.
A 1951 JDB is vehicle number 126, and it's driven by Scott Mag and owned by Bill Mag, both of Fort Jennings.
Following the tractors are friends from Continental, the EMS squad from Continental, Ohio. They have 25 members who volunteer their time to provide emergency medical services for the people in Continental and Putnam County. The chief of the Continental EMS is Mr. Bill Moeller.
Following the Continental EMS unit, we have Ultrasound Disc Jockey Systems. They're willing to play oldies, country, rock. It's owned by Mr. Kevin Wigging from Delphus, Ohio. And if you're interested in a DJ service, call 692-0735 for Ultrasound. And those people are partying on that wagon. You have a vehicle tractor number 112? I think we threw that away. It was a long time ago. Tractor number 112 is a 1949 ZA. Driver is Joe Cavillage, and it's owned by Mr. Joe Cavillage. Next we have the Blanchard Valley, or the Blanchard Township Gilboa Volunteer Fire Department. And Gilboa is having a Blanchard River Festival next weekend, September 19th. Arts and crafts, and we're going to have Harlan's Chicken Barbecue with plenty of entertainment. Go to Gilboa next weekend.
Now passing the viewing stand is a classic Plymouth Chrysler Dodge car, 1969 Dodge Charger. Thanks, John. It's driven and owned by John Colley from here in Kalida.
Next we have a 1980 pickup Ford, driven by Gary Ricker of Ottawa, and Gary also owns that beautiful truck.
Car number 28 is a 1930 Ford Model A, driven by Jim Cottonbrook from Ottawa, and it's owned by Clarence Schrader in Ottawa.
Following that car, we have a van from E&E Electronics in Vaughansville. They do some fine work over there. If you have any problems with your radios or your stereos or your televisions, VCRs, E&E Electronics is definitely the place to take it over in Vaughansville. Qualified service over in E&E's.
Following E&E Electronics are our friends from Ottoville, the Ottoville Volunteer Fire Department. They brought over one of their older pieces of equipment, a 1929 Pumper International. The chief of the Ottoville Fire Department is Mr. Dave Ricker, and we thank you for coming to this afternoon's parade, Ottoville Volunteer Fire Department.
Next we have a very nice pickup truck sponsored by Homebrink Excavating in Ottawa. If you have any digging or any backhoe service needs to be done, make sure you call Homebrink Excavating in Ottawa, Ohio.
Next, we have some samples of equipment from Metzger Brothers in Fort Jennings, Ohio. They've been serving the farmers for over 50 years in Putnam County. They brought over a white 80 tractor, a Belarus, a 250 AS Belarus with turf tires, a white outdoor FR12 front runner mower, and they also brought over a Belarus 925 tractor. So we certainly want to thank Metzger Brothers from Fort Jennings, Ohio, for coming over to this afternoon's Putnam County Pioneer Days Parade here in Kalida. Thank you, Metzger Brothers.
A 1954 Chevy 210 is car number 29, and it's owned by Rita Berg, and it's driven by Bernard Berg of Leipzig, Ohio.
Car number 30 is a 1968 Z28 Camaro RS model. It's driven by Carl Kennedy from Fort Jennings, and it says re-elect Ron Deemer for sheriff.
Bart Blankemeyer is driving a 1979 Way Cool Junior Chevy Blazer, and it is owned by Brett and Bart Blankemeyer of Pandora. Very, very beautiful car, Bart. Truck. Thank you for bringing it over.
Coming upon the reviewing stand now are friends from Delphus, Ohio, Westrix Furniture, Appliances, and Carpeting. They have 3 locations in Delphus, and they brought over their founders, Mel and Dee Westrick. They started the business in 1937. Right now they have 23 employees, and they have over 252 total years of experience. So remember Westrix Furniture and Appliances and Carpet in Delphus, Ohio.
Next we have Mr. Richard Leopold coming through the parade again. You're looking good in there, Dick. Thanks for coming over. Mr. Leopold wants to remind everybody to just please vote in November. Re-elect fairness, experience, re-elect Judge Leopold. Thanks, Dick.
Next coming up on the reviewing stand is Danger Zone DJ Services, and they're making some music this afternoon here in Kalida, Ohio. Danger Zone is being pulled by Jones Motor Company. So for all your audio systems and your DJ services, remember Danger Zone.
Tractor number 127 is a 1951 Cossack 3B, and it's owned and it's driven by James Cole, and it's owned by Bill and James Cole of Genera, Ohio. Very, very fine tractor.
128. You got number 128?
Vehicle number 128 is a 1949 Case DC, driven by Stuart Tetters from Ottawa, and Fred Ewing from Ottawa is the owner.
Tractor number 129 is a 1936 Case Model CC. It's driven and owned by Jerry Stauffer from Continental.
Russ Yetter is driving vehicle number 130, and it is a 1957 Case 600 Rice Special. Russ is from Ottawa, and it's owned by Bruce Stauffer of Continental. Vehicle number 131 is a 1947 tractor JDA, driven and owned by Sparky Brinkman of Ottoville. Thank you, Sparky.
Next, we have some representatives and cars and vans from Ed Foreman in Ottawa, Ohio. For all of your new and used car sales and service, you'll certainly want to go over to Ottawa and see Ed Foreman Chevrolet Oldsmobile. They have a fine, fine line of new and used cars. And with the new car year coming up, I'm sure we'll have lots of 1993 cars there at Ed Foreman Chevrolet Oldsmobile in Ottawa, Ohio.
Yes, Chevy and GM and Chevy have some beautiful cars every year, and as everybody knows, there's a lot of people from Putnam County work over at the foundry in Defiance for GM. So it's always nice to buy an American car and keep our people in the county working. Next we have 3 units from Agra Supply. And the first unit is a Magnum 4 Turbo. Agra Supply is in Ottawa, Ohio, and if you have any fertilizer or herbicide need or seed need in the future, be certain to call Agra Supply in Ottawa. There they have a very nice spraying unit that can go through your corn and bean fields without making very, very little destruction to your growing crops, and they can spray the herbicides for you.
Following Agra Supply, we have the Ottawa Volunteer Fire Department, 1992 Queen, Miss Carrie Warnicki, and Carrie was one of the 10 finalists in the fire convention. So we'd like to congratulate Carrie Warnicki on a successful year representing the Ottawa Volunteer Fire Department. They've brought along today a 1941 Seagrave, and they've also brought along a 1977 Mini Pumper. The chief of the Ottawa Volunteer Fire Department is Mr. E.E. Bert Deemer. So we would like to thank our friends from Ottawa, the Ottawa Volunteer Fire Department, for coming to this afternoon's parade. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Again, the Glandorf people would like to thank the Ottawa Fire Department for helping out in their tragedy at at St. John's Church. Thank you, Ottawa Fire Department. Vehicle number 132 is a 1963 Minneapolis Moline, driven by Wayne Stauffer, and it is owned by Fred Yingling.
Tractor 132 is pulling Tractor 133, a 1928 LHC Model 1020. It's driven by Clayton Britch from Cloverdale, and the owner is Wayne Stauffer from Continental.
A 1929 Ford is car number 32, and it's driven by Merrill Huffman, and it's owned by Art Dooling. Merrill is from Miller City, and Art's from Ottawa. Car number 33 is a 1985 Monte Carlo Chevy. Owner's name Dan Cordy.
Truck number 34 is a 1938 122 cab and cash model Ford. It's driven and owned by Gary Gutekunst from Fort Jennings.
Car number 35 is a 1967 Ford GTA convertible Fairlane, owned and driven by Butch Karras of Ottoville. Beautiful car, Butch. Thank you for bringing it over. Very, very nice.
Following the Ford Fairlane is tractor.
Where's this tractor?
It's a 1947 John Deere.
That's the right one? No, that ain't it.
And it's pulling John Schrader Welding. Remember, after 4 p.m. any day, call John Schrader Welding, 523-4751.
Following the John Schrader display, we have the Ottawa Feed and Grain. And if you need some ground, or you need some seeds for your fields, be certain to call the Ottawa Feed and Grain Company and Hardware in Ottawa. Next, we have a float pulled by a 8730 Ford from Holmeyer & Sons in Continental and Payne. And they are saluting farm products are priceless. Collective bargaining works, and they're saying support the National Farmers Organization, better known as the NFO. Make an appointment to ship with NFO.
Following Holmeyer is Hayden Towing, the heartbeat of Lima. They provide 24-hour services. They're members of the AAA. For all of your towing and wrecking services, don't forget Hayden's Towing in Lima, Ohio.
Following Hayden's Towing, we have car number 36, and it is for sale. It is a 1976 Ford Thunderbird.
No, it's okay. I just need
It's owned by Pat Centers, and it's driven by Bob Centers of Lima, Ohio. Very, very beautiful Ford Thunderbird, 1976. If anybody wants to buy that beautiful car, it's for sale.
Now coming up on the reviewing stand is car number 37, a 1967 Camaro Chevy. Beautiful looking convertible. It's driven and owned by Don Landwehr from our friends in Fort Jennings, Ohio. Thank you, Don, for coming to this afternoon's parade.
Car number 38 came from Findlay, and it's driven by Don Bear, and it is a 1965 Dodge Polar 500 convertible. Very, very nice car. Gentlemen, thank you for bringing it over from Findlay. It was sold new in Findlay by, I can't read your writing, it's by Saucer Dodge. Thank you for bringing it over. Very nice. Cars 35. John Schrader Welding, is that this? No, Violet Implement. Where are we at?
right here.
Where are we at on the list? Next we have something brought over from Violet Implements. Our good friends in Delphus, Violet Implements is pulling the Wideside DJ, owned by Pat Herman of Ottoville. They have music for all occasions. Weddings, unions, parties, and dances. Thank you, Violet Implement, for pulling that fine group of people through the parade.
Following the wild side is Artistic Photography, Inc. We'd like to thank them for bringing along a colorful float and for participating in this afternoon's Putnam County Pioneer Days celebration here in Kalida.
Let's talk about the Heritage Days.
Let's not forget, while we have a little lull in the parade here, don't forget Heritage Day's celebration in Delphos, Ohio next weekend. The 18th, 19th, and 20th, sponsored by the JCs. It's a fundraiser. The JCs have a wonderful tradition of providing services for their communities. That's the Heritage Days celebration, September 18th, 19th, and 20th in Delphos, Ohio.
You know, Kevin, I was speaking with one of the chairmen for the Heritage Days, and he was saying they're going to have games, rides, refreshments, and lots of music. So please go to the Heritage Days next weekend and have a good time. Next we have WQTL, the radio float, Classic Hits 106, Putnam County's finest radio station, and definitely one of the best in Northwest Ohio. Not quite far enough, and it's sponsored by Kuhlman Brothers Incorporated.
Following WQTL is representatives from Cleats Auto Sales and Service here in Kalida. For all your automobile sales and service, see Cleats Auto Sales here in Kalida.
Next we have several vehicles by the Kalida Telephone Company. Kalida Telephone Company volunteers a lot of its workers volunteer a lot of their time also for the Pioneer Days here in Putnam County. And they are the cheapest rates in Putnam County, probably in the world.
Following the Kalida Telephone Company, going back to some cars, some classic cars, the 1969 Z28 Camaro. It's driven and owned by Mark Mag from Fort Jennings, Ohio.
Car number 40 is a 1947 Crossley sedan, driven by Ed Lursman from Fort Jennings, and it is also owned by Ed and Helen Lursman of Fort Jennings.
Also by the Lursmans, they brought along car number 41, a 1966 Plymouth Sport Fury. Again, it's driven and owned by Carl Lursman from Fort Jennings.
Marlene Lursman is driving a 1969 Satellite Plymouth, which is car number 42, and it's owned by Mark Colley, and that is truly a beautiful machine. Thank you for bringing it over this afternoon. Thatcher's. Next we have Thatcher's Snowmobiles from Middle Point, Ohio. Go over and see Claire Thatcher for one of those beautiful looking Skidoo snowmobiles. Claire will fix you up.
If we have as much snow as we did rain this summer, there's going to be a lot of people driving snowmobiles this year, Tim. Following Thatcher's Snowmobiles is a float from Dick's Restaurant here in Kalida, serving fine foods for well over a quarter of a century.
You have anything for Brees? Ben Brees? Mm-hmm.
Next we have a wagon with some motorcycles on it and many, many Harley motorcycles from our good friends in Ottawa, Ben Brees Harley Davidson. Some truly fine-looking vintage vehicles starting it out, and some more current ones following the pack, and they are American-made, and they are truly the finest motorcycles built.
You know, Tim, Harley Davidson is a real success story in management worker cooperation. Harley Davidson had some financial problems some years ago. Management and union put their heads together and have been a real success story. They're very financially successful now, and as you can see, they build very many fine products. That's Brees in Ottawa, Ohio.
Good, very good.
Next we have Matson's Taxidermy in Continental, Ohio. If this fall or winter you're fortunate enough to shoot a deer, a buck deer, please go to Matson's and get that thing kept so everyone can see it in the future. Next we have H&K Motor Sales, our good friends from Continental, with a beautiful pickup truck. Thank you for coming over, H&K.
They've also brought along the Student of the Year for 1992 for Tap on Wood Dance Studio,
Janice Beery.
Miss Janice Perry. Congratulations, Janice.
What the hell is this? Oh, Mrs.
You know, H&K Motors have been a tradition in Putnam County for at least 30, 35 years. For all of your new, used cars, sales and service, repairs, remember H&K Motor Sales from Continental, Ohio. They also have car lots, I think, in Paulding, Ohio also. So that's H&K Motor Sales in Continental and Paulding, Ohio.
I'm glad H&K always brings cars over because they always bring over some just beautiful looking cars, and it's just always nice to have our good friends from Continental come over and share some of the beauty that GM produces every year. Keep those Defiance boys working. That's what I like to see. Keep those cars and trucks rolling. Next we have an entry from the Remlinger Fish Farm right here in Kalida, Ohio. Live fish for stocking your ponds right here in Kalida. The Remlinger Fish Farms. Very, very nice. Thank you, Mark Remlinger.
Following Remlinger Fish Farms is a beautiful float from Kalida Hardware on the square. They say, we service what we sell, and that's pretty unusual this day and age. So best wishes to the new ownership of Kalida Hardware, Keith and Linda Remlinger.
Following the hardware, we have Myers Auto Sales and Services in Glandorf, Ohio. Quality used cars. They have a 24-hour wrecking service. Michelin tires for sale. The Myers over in Glandorf will fix you up. They're truly fine people, serving the community of Glandorf and Putnam County for over 30 years. Myers Auto Sales and Service, Glandorf, Ohio.
Following Myers Trucking and Sales and Service is the Manley Tables and Chairs from Fort Jennings, Ohio. For rentals, sales, any types of parties and weddings you're planning, see Manley's Tables and Chairs in Fort Jennings, Ohio.
Next we have a 1952 Farmall M, coming all the way from New Bavaria, driven by Alan Fife, and the owner's name is Paul Fife.
Following that is Tractor 135, a 1948 John Deere Model A, driven and owned by Paul Fife from our friends in New Bavaria, Ohio.
Also coming from New Bavaria is tractor number 136, driven by Eugene Kuhlman, and it is a 1951 Case SC. Thank you for coming all the way from Newber. We appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Following the tractors are Sweetheart of Country Music. They're sponsored by Hazelton Construction. That's Frank and Annette Hazelton Construction. So remember Sweetheart of Country Music for your next celebration.
Next we have the Putnam County Pounding Hooves 4-H Club. Thank you for coming over.
Look at those beautiful horses, Tim. Do a wonderful job of grooming and taking care of those horses.
Yes, taking care of horses is really a lot of work, and keeping them looking so nice is even more work, and these people really do a very nice job. Following the horses, we have the Ronald McDonald House float and display, and the Ronald McDonald House will be selling tickets in front of the fire department, and they'll be giving away a little playhouse again this year. So if you're looking for a playhouse for your kids, is that what you're giving away again, a playhouse? Are you giving away a horse? Okay, a wooden horse. Excuse me, they're giving away a wooden horse this year. So please stop by and help support the Ronald McDonald House.
Tim, before you say that, also Braun has a ambulance unit on display over there too.
Okay. Immediately following the parade, Braun is going to have their ambulance that went through the parade earlier on display in front of the fire station, and the Kalida Volunteer Fire Department are going to have their new mini pumper on display in front of the fire station. The firemen are saying thanks for your support. You guys did a very nice job in helping pay for that mini pumper, and they'd like to show it off. So if you have a minute or two, please go over to the fire station and check out the new mini pumper.
And we've come to the conclusion of another successful Putnam County Pioneer Days celebration parade, the 120th. We want to thank everyone for coming and hope you were entertained by this afternoon's parade. We have a few announcements. Remember, Soundwave will be at the big dance tent located on the north side of the square. It's a free dance, compliments of the sponsors of the Pioneer Days, the Kalida Lions and the Volunteer Fire Department. Soundwave will be providing the music from 3 until 6 p.m. So you younger people and you older people who still think young, stop on over to the big dance tent and enjoy the fine music.
I'd like to also remind everybody that right now the Volleyball Slam Fest is going to resume. If you want to see some fine volleyball action, just go in back of the fire station and you'll see some fine young individuals performing volleyball stunts and feats as they slam fest their way to victory.
Also, immediately following the parade, there'll be fresh canned apple butter on sale at the Putnam County Historical Society Museum, located on the south side of the square. The Putnam County Historical Society Museum and Log Cabin will both be open immediately following the parade here.
I'd like to remind everyone one more time about the Heritage Days over in Delphus next weekend, the 18th, 19th, and 20th. And it is sponsored by the Delphus JCs with all benefits going toward the the community projects. September 18th,